guys, SmallmouthCrush. In this video, since some of the audio was trash, we're going to be putting together a few clips, maybe some background clips, things like that, because a lot of the video that we filmed with Epic Eric just did not sound right. But I wanted to make a video about all the baits that really produced for me for the pre-spawn time frame for smallmouth. So we're going to go through that, as well as some of the different techniques that we were, the rods and reels that we're using, and really our setup. And might be surprised, there really wasn't a whole bunch of baits in the rotation. It was very select. I like to be as efficient as possible when I'm on the water. Yes, there's some fun things to do. You're going to see that Eric was using a variety of different baits, trying different things, throwing some crankbaits, chatter baits, spinner baits, things like that. Beetle spins even, all the craziness. But really, the baits that really worked well for me, we're going to go over. And then, of course, in the description of this video, you can go right to those links as well if you want to take a look at those. Those are all through Tackle Warehouse. And you do help support the channel when you do use those links, so I do encourage you to do that. So let's get into some of the top baits that we were using. So no doubt, crankbaits work year-round. Here I'm throwing a, actually I catch a northern here, never mind. But Eric's got one hooked up on a crankbait. And it is a great way to catch them. I like to use the OSP Blitz crankbait, and we did catch a few over 7 on that Blitz this year. But I wanted to throw this clip in there because Eric loves throwing crankbaits, and they do work. I just don't use them all the time. So one of my most effective ways to cover water and put big fish in the boat, especially in that early spring season. So one of the most effective ways for me to cover water and put big fish in the boat was throwing the Beast Coast open water sniper jig. Okay, 1/4 ounce. There's a lead version, which is this one. You can see, I'm actually going to show you the difference here. And then they have a tungsten version. Lead's going to be a little less expensive. Tungsten's going to be a little bit more compact. Not a huge difference. The one here is the tungsten. There's not a huge difference in size. I prefer the tungsten. We did use the lead a lot, especially in snaggy areas when you know, get sick and tired of losing so many baits. But that was the deal. Sexy Melon was the color, or Mothman. Those are the two predominant colors that I used. Variety of different trailers on the back of that. Really, it was endless possibilities. Use your imagination. I'm going to show you my top producers this year. TRD HOGZ by Z-Man. Very simple little trailer. We put that on the back of the jig and threw that around. So that was a very good trailer. And this is the yoga pants color. The Berkeley Little General, green pumpkin, black powder. We would put those on the back of the jigs quite a bit as well. Fish it just like you would, almost like a Ned rig. Of course, the Z-Man TRDs, green pumpkin goby or yoga pants, another two great colors. The Great Lakes Finesse snack craw, green pumpkin, straight black. Those were producing as well. And then I'd always throw in a Z-Man Ticklerz on the back of it. And this bait also works great, just throwing it on a Ned rig. But that's a great little trailer for these sniper jigs. When I would get in the deeper water, so if I'm in 15 feet or more, or there's a lot of wind, I'll step it up to a 3/8 ounce. There was fish in 2 feet of water this year all the way out to 45. And they stayed in those different zones. You know, every fish, not all fish move up at the same time. So there was always fish deep and always fish shallow. And so we'd go along there. And a lot of my clients and myself, I use that 1/4 ounce on a spinning rod a lot. This spinning rod here is a St. Croix Legend X. This is a 7-foot medium power. This is my go-to spinning rod when I'm throwing those sniper jigs. During the summer months, when I get out deep, I'm going to have 2 of these rods ready to go. One's going to be a 3/8 ounce and one's going to be a 1/4 ounce sniper jig. And basically that's what I do. I snipe the fish, right? I look for them on my electronics and I throw my jig out to them. And depending on how deep of the water, if I want a slower fall, that'll determine. A lot of times if I get away with a 1/4 ounce, I will. I'll fish that 1/4 ounce all the way down to 30 feet. But it really depends on the conditions I'm faced with that day. I use Shimano Vanford 3000. Of course, braid. So this is Cortland Master Braid. This is 8-pound. I like to throw the 8-pound on those sniper jigs, and then I'll use an 8 or 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. When we're catching so many fish like we were this spring, I went with the 10-pound. Just makes things a little bit easier when you're catching so many fish. But if it was in the summer months and things were a little bit more difficult, I guess you could say, and you want to generate more bites, I feel like an 8-pound leader is going to help you get just a little bit more bites. I think it allows that bait to work just a little bit more naturally, maybe, or it could all be in my mind. I don't know. But go with 8 if you're fishing during the summer months. I had a lot of fun throwing that sniper jig as well this year on a Baitcaster. It's just a fun way to set the hook and have a little fun. So that's what I did. This particular Baitcaster here is a St. Croix Legend Xtreme. This is a 7-foot medium fast. I got a Corrado 200, 8:5 gear ratio on that. 15-pound Cortland Master Braid High Vis. And then I go with a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. And we're just out there fan casting, throwing at boulders, throwing at rock transitions, things like that, and just working that jig pretty fast. Giving it a little bit of shakes, dead stick, keep it moving, just trying to cover water. And it was a lot of fun setting the hook with that Baitcaster. So those were my setups primarily for the sniper jig this year.
Eric's got one.
Ooh. Had to make a drag adjustment.
I've never seen that before.
What'd you catch him on?
A Beetle Spin. That is a monster, dude.
That's a monster.
That's a monster. How big is that fish, Travis? That looks like a 7.
It's just a 6.
If that ain't a 7, I'm a monkey's uncle.
Skinny.
You wanna?
I'm a monkey's uncle. Oh, don't lose that fish. I'd really like to see this fish in my hand. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling, bro. I'm struggling. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Oh my gosh, this is the worst landing job ever.
Wow.
Holy moly. The Beetle Spin theory. That's a Hildebrandt blade with Travis's drop minnow.
He's not big.
Oh, he looks big, dude. I thought the last one was a 7. It was a 5'9".
No, you can't say weight. So
Oh, you're right. The other one.
It's illegal to.
You're right.
Fish.
I don't have a clue, but he's fighting
can.
hard. But they all feel very big.
All right, you caught another one of the Beetle Spin. Good job.
Okay. RG of the year. This takes me back to why I wanted to throw the Beetle Spin. I used to catch giant largemouth on it. Beetle Spin are not for chumps.
These are some good pre-spawn.
Just a little. That's a good one, dude.
For here.
Oh my gosh, what does that fish weigh? Look at that tub.
You don't say weigh.
What? That just is a nice looking largemouth, bro. On the old Beetle Spin. Come here, Mr. Lovely. Come here, Mr. Lovely. You know you like a Beetle Spin. Look at that Beetle Spin. It's so stupid. I love it. Back to my utes.
All right, Eric also wanted to try to catch a fish on this Relic rod and reel. And he did. He wanted to try it. It's a Cardinal something. I'm not sure. Maybe if he watches this video, he can put it in the comments. But he brought it up, and he completed his mission. Good job, bud. He's all excited about that. One of the days we actually had a client out with us, George, who's a regular on our live shows as well. George came out with us, and we had days of doubles and triples. It was a lot of fun. Crystal clear water, perfect conditions. We're just running around setting the hook all day. We also did a little blade bait fishing. So some of the fish were still staging. They were a little bit deeper. And we were throwing blade baits. I like a variety of blade baits. One of my favorite, though, would be the Damiki Vault. It's in the 1/2 ounce size. That's typically what I throw. There's a bunch of other good ones. Binsky's. BPS makes some good ones I like to use. And it's a fun way to catch them. And they were fat when you find them, that's for sure. We did have a little boat problem. I'm just changing out the prop here. All kinds of issues to come, but that's all part of it. I saw the clip earlier of Eric throwing the Beetle Spin with the Great Lakes Finesse drop minnow as a trailer on the back. But I've also been catching a lot of fish on the Great Lakes Finesse Underspin, the sneaky Underspin. And I like to use the drop minnow as a trailer. Crush Shad was a great color, as well as straight black for me. And we're just basically swimming that in the water column. The perfect rod in my mind for this technique is a St. Croix Legend Tournament. This is a 710 medium light. It actually says hair jig on the handle. It's a great hair jig rod, but it's really good at throwing those finesse swim baits as well. White Cortland Master Braid 5 pound, and then I'll use either a 6 or 8 pound fluorocarbon leader on this rod. Smallmouth Crush, Epic Eric. We're just trying to catch a few fish.
Just exploring.
Exploring.
He's not quite as fat as some of them.
We did catch a few fish chatterbaiting this season as well. I like the Z-Man mini chatter. Some chartreuse and white. You can't go wrong with that color. Or just kind of a natural green pumpkin color. Seems to get the job done for me. Here we're hooked up with one on that chatterbait. We also caught them really good on the new bait by Great Lakes Finesse, the Juvy Craw. I made a specific video about that. Their mini tube heads are perfect for that. Let me just show you what that looks like real quick. It's a very natural finesse little plastic. It's just like a crayfish, and it's designed to be able to insert this tube insert right inside there. And you just fish it. I made a whole dedicated video on that, but that was a great little bait that put a bunch of fish in the boat for me. So we really kept things simple, right? We did a lot of bottom baits, so that sniper jig, Ned rigs, any of these trailers I talked about. I mean, you can just use a single ball head and put that snack craw on the back and drag it and get bites. You can put a little General on the back. You can put a Hogs. You can put the Z-Man TRD on the back. Any finesse base that you're comfortable with. Again, I like the natural colors. I like your green pumpkins, your purples, and then your straight blacks. That's kind of my go-to. Of course, the drop minnow. Both drop shotting it, working it on a jig head as well, like you do a Ned. I've made videos in the past showing that. That's another great option. Something we didn't do a whole lot of this year. They certainly would have bit. It's just something we just didn't get around to doing. It happened so fast. We caught so many fish, and then next thing you know, season's closed. We got a little temporary break here, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of clients that was the first time they experienced that early season fishing, and so they had a blast. And so, like I said, very basic stuff, little underspin, swim baits, football heads, a little bit of blade bait action. That was pretty much it. Yes, could I caught him on an Alabama rig? Sure. Could I have caught him on a jerk bait? Yes. Could I caught him on an inline spinner? Of course. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do to target these fish. It's what you're comfortable with, what you like to do. I like setting the hook on the bottom dragging bait. I can get to the fish quick. I can present that bait to a rock. I can move on to the next one if there isn't a fish there, and we just keep covering water. There's so much water out there, and there's not really a bad area to fish. You can literally come up here, look at a map, and be like, all right, I'm going to focus on this area, and you'll be able to dissect it and hopefully put some fish in the boat. And if you don't want to do all that work, you can also hire me. You can go on a guide trip with me. I got plenty of dates available late summer into the fall, and it's going to get better and better. I mean, the fishing's been great up here, and I expect to have a great guiding season out there.